Hi, my name's Peter Orpin. I'm a veterinary surgeon, also director of 2.Myhealthyherd. In the next 6 minutes I'm going to show you how 2.Myhealthyherd can be used to perform a comprehensive risk assessment for dairy herds for Johne's disease. Johne's disease is an important economic disease within dairy cattle, and really the manifestation within the herd is very much related to the risks of entry and the risks of spread. How do we use the program? If we click on the blue title here after logging on, we can actually get to this progress page. If you come here for the first time, these will all be blue question marks, and this will only be populated as you answer the questions. But for brevity's sake, I've actually pre-populated the risk assessments. You start here and we really analyse the risk of disease entry. And there are a series of 15 questions here that you answer, and they're fairly simple. I buy or introduce cattle, including hired bulls, onto the farm, never, occasionally, frequently. You put an answer in the area which you believe most accurately reflects what happens on the farm. After you've trundled through and done that, you submit and view the risks. And this is now sort of converting all those questions into a numerical score, which allows us to categorize the risks. And we can see here that the risks, the general risk of disease entry from cattle, are low, from people are moderate, and from objects they're low as well. This is graphically illustrated here, and each of those risks is actually scored. And the major risk that we've got left on this herd, it's a tidy farm, is really relating to visitors entering animal areas without actually wearing clean protective clothing. And that would be a relatively simple risk to manage. Okay, so we go back to the progress page. So we can see here, after answering those sort of 14 questions, we've actually really performed a comprehensive general risk assessment for disease entry for the farm. Now, every disease has its own set of risks, and the next thing we're going to do is to perform a risk assessment specifically relating to Johne's disease. And we follow the same format, but these questions now relate to Johne's disease, and they are broadly divided into the historic purchases of cattle, access to streams and waterways, the actual presence of sheep and rabbits, and also what we do with slurry, which is also quite a significant risk. We then perform a submit, and this is now just sending those questions off to the central computer in Chippenham, and here we have it. We've completed the risk of disease entry for Johne's disease, and in this particular herd the risk of entry for Johne's disease is amber. And this is really related to these two risks here: the historic purchases of animals of unknown Johne's risk status in the last 10 years, and occasionally colostrum has been sourced from other herds. Now, does this matter? That's the key question. Well, it does matter really. Really, whether we actually bring disease into the herd is really important if there's risks for it to be spread or multiplied. And so we really need to assess now the potential for the disease to actually multiply within the herd. And this is the risk of disease spread questionnaire. Now, this is quite detailed. There are 4 areas here: cow to calf, milk and colostrum, young stock and adult risk of spread. And these are split up over 24 questions. And this will actually take some time to go through, but this is an important disease, and it's probably worthy of 10 minutes of your life to go through and work through the questionnaire. Once we've actually answered those questions, again we submit the actual risks, and they will be scored. And if we actually know what the risks of entry are and the risks of spread, we are well set in terms of predicting the likely prevalence within the actual herd. And in this particular herd, the major area of we need to focus on are cow to calf risks. This is basically Johne's positive cows or infected cows spreading infection through to the calves, typically in the calving areas. There's also some risks relating to milk and colostrum. So overall, the risk of spread for Johne's disease is categorised as high, and the reasons why is that in this particular farm a common or calving pen is used. There is no testing of the cattle at this stage, and as a consequence there is a risk that infected cows could spread the disease through to the actual calves. The calves will actually stay in the pens for more than 6 hours, and this also sort of further increases the risks. Raw and pasteurised milk and waste milk is fed to the calves, and again there is some pooling there, pooling of colostrum and milk, and these are potential risks as well. So, where are we now? We've actually completed the risk assessment. We've actually completed the risk of general biosecurity risk and disease entry here, the actual disease entry risk for Johne's, and the spread. So this is an amber-red herd, and the actual predicted prevalence would be, potentially this would be a worry to me, and I think it would be important for us to proceed to the next stage of doing some strategic testing in this herd to see if the disease is present. And we'll cover the next steps and how we actually complete the actual prevalence prediction and the control plan and surveillance plan and biosecurity planning in the next video. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.